You check their social media at 2 a.m., knowing it will destroy you, but you can't stop yourself. You replay conversations from months ago, analyzing every word for hidden meaning that was never there. You've tried dating other people, thrown yourself into work, traveled to new places, but nothing works because part of you is still trapped in a relationship that ended long ago. What you're experiencing goes far deeper than heartbreak or attachment issues. You're caught in what Martin Heidegger called thrownness, the condition of being thrown into existence without choosing your circumstances, yet remaining responsible for how you respond to them. Your consciousness has become so intertwined with another person that losing them feels like losing yourself. Heidegger understood that human existence is fundamentally about being with others, and when that connection is severed, we face what he termed anxiety. Not fear of something specific, but the dread of confronting our own isolated existence. You can't move on because you're experiencing the terror of being thrown back into your individual consciousness after existing as part of a shared reality. The reason traditional breakup advice fails is because it treats symptoms rather than addressing the philosophical crisis at the root. Your inability to let go reveals how your sense of being in the world has been structured around another person's existence, and without them, you literally don't know how to be. What follows will expose how Heidegger's philosophy explains why you remain psychologically chained to someone who no longer exists in your life. You'll discover how to reconstruct your authentic existence without them, and at the end of each section, you'll receive specific actions you can take to begin this transformation immediately. The illusion of self that dies with them. You wake up every morning and for a split second, you forget they're gone, then reality crashes down like a physical blow to your chest. You reach for your phone expecting their good morning text, plan conversations you'll never have, and catch yourself thinking, I need to tell them about this, before remembering they're no longer part of your world. Heidegger called this phenomenon being toward death, the realization that our existence is finite and that loss is inevitable. But when someone leaves your life, you experience a different kind of death, the death of the version of yourself that existed in relationship with them. The person you were with them, funnier, more confident, more alive, has died, and you're left grieving not just their absence, but your own. Your sense of self was never as solid as you believed. What you thought was you was actually a co-creation between two consciousnesses. The way they laughed at your jokes made you funny. The way they looked at you made you beautiful. The way they needed you made you important. Without their confirming presence, these aspects of yourself feel like they've vanished into thin air. Heidegger understood that authentic existence requires confronting what he called ownmost possibility. The recognition that you are ultimately alone in your being and responsible for creating meaning from that solitude. The person who cannot get over someone is refusing to accept their individual existence, clinging instead to the illusion that they need another consciousness to validate their reality. The self you were with them was partially constructed, a performance designed to maintain connection. The self you are without them is more real, even if it feels terrifying and empty. This emptiness is not a void to be filled. It's the space where your authentic existence begins. Write down 3 things you loved about yourself when you were with them. Now identify how you can embody those qualities independently without needing their reflection to make them real. When memory becomes your prison. You replay the same conversations obsessively, dissecting every word they said for clues about what went wrong. You remember their laugh more clearly than you remember your own voice, and you can recall the exact way they smelled, but can't remember what you had for breakfast. Your mind has become a museum dedicated to preserving moments that no longer exist. and you've appointed yourself the curator of your own suffering. Heidegger distinguished between two forms of temporality: authentic time, where we project ourselves toward future possibilities, and fallen time, where we become trapped in the past. When you can't get over someone, you've collapsed into what he called thrownness, allowing your past to determine your present reality instead of creating new possibilities from your current situation. Memory is not a passive recording device. Every time you recall a moment with them, you're actively reconstructing it through the lens of your current emotional state. The fight you had 6 months ago gets rewritten with today's pain. The beautiful moment you shared gets infected with the knowledge that it's gone forever. You're not remembering the past. You're creating a distorted version of it that serves your present suffering. Your consciousness has become what Heidegger called idle talk, repetitive mental chatter that prevents authentic engagement with reality. You rehearse conversations that will never happen, imagine scenarios where they return, and replay moments where everything was perfect. This mental activity creates the illusion of connection while actually deepening your isolation. The past exists only in your consciousness, and you have the power to choose which aspects of it to carry forward. The version of the past that torments you is not more real than the version that could liberate you. Both are constructions, but only one serves your future existence. Here's something you can do. Some of you who have done cognitive behavioral therapy might find this familiar. Choose one memory of them that you've been obsessing over. Write it down, then rewrite it from the perspective of who you are now, not who you were then. Notice how the meaning changes when you stop trying to preserve the past exactly as it was. Heidegger's Thrownness, why you're stuck in the past. You feel like a victim of circumstances beyond your control, as if their leaving happened to you rather than being something you had any agency in. You tell yourself you never chose this pain, never wanted this emptiness, never asked to be abandoned in a reality that suddenly feels foreign and hostile. Every day feels like you're drowning in a situation you didn't create and can't escape. Heidegger's concept of Geworfenheit, or thrownness, explains exactly why you feel powerless. You've been thrown into existence without choosing your circumstances, your family, your culture, your emotional patterns, even this relationship that ended. But here's where most people misunderstand thrownness. While you didn't choose your circumstances, you are absolutely responsible for how you respond to them. You're stuck because you're refusing to acknowledge your facticity, the given conditions of your existence that cannot be changed. They are gone. The relationship is over. The version of yourself that existed with them is dead. These are facts, not opinions or temporary situations that might reverse if you wait long enough or love hard enough. Heidegger called the refusal to accept facticity falling or fallenness, a state where you avoid authentic existence by losing yourself in what he termed the they-self. You adopt the opinions of others about what love should be, how long grief should last, what moving on looks like. You live according to social expectations rather than your own authentic possibilities. The person trapped in thrownness believes their past determines their future, but Heidegger understood that authentic existence requires what he called resoluteness. The decision to project yourself toward future possibilities despite the anxiety of not knowing what will happen. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a being capable of creating meaning from whatever situation you find yourself in. Authentic existence means accepting that you were thrown into this painful situation, but choosing how to project yourself forward from here. The relationship ended, but your existence continues, and what you do with that existence is entirely up to you. Write down 3 future possibilities that become available to you now that this relationship is over. Focus on what you can become, not what you've lost. The ego's final, desperate gambit. Your ego would rather cling to familiar suffering than face the terrifying freedom of creating a new existence without them. Heidegger knew that authentic being requires confronting anxiety, not fear of something specific, but the dread of your own radical freedom. You can become anyone, do anything, love differently. That possibility is more frightening than remaining imprisoned by the past. The ego creates elaborate fantasies of reunion because choosing your future means accepting responsibility for who you become next. But this anxiety signals authentic existence emerging. When you stop trying to return to who you were with them and start becoming who you are without them, you discover what Heidegger called your ownmost possibility, the uniquely yours capacity to create meaning from emptiness. The person you're becoming has always been waiting on the other side of letting go.